most improved on defense. Now, once again, I had a ton of names because I was over here like most improved. Alex Highsmith, that man went from single digits to, was it 14 and a half? I think he ended with for the season, right? Make sure I had 14 and a half, so I was like, man, impressive. I thought about Devin Bush. I said Devin was a guy that was heavily under fire last year, man, heavily. And it got to the point where he was really producing, man. Obviously thought about Robert Spillane. He's another guy where it was like, man, this dude has really carved out a role for himself. And even Cam Sutton, it was multiple guys I was thinking.
You couldn't double it up, though.
I couldn't double it up. So then I was like, what about Edmonds? Thought about him. But the name that I settled on, and I'm completely confident in, my most improved defensive player, it's Robert Spillane, bro. To me, it had to be Robert Spillane. A couple of reasons. First off, when he came to this team, no one even expected him to actually be on the team and like have a role like this, especially when you're talking defense. Part of his opportunity came from Devin Bush getting hurt. Then from there, we know the Derrick Henry play and then the storybook with the pick six against Lamar. He had that like crazy run, right? But nobody anticipated him really sticking around, especially on defense, after that season. It was more so Devin Bush is going to come back and everything is going to be fine. That was the narrative. Then we saw how everything played out in his second year. And Spillane really got another opportunity to start to expand. And then you got to this season here where, this was supposed to be that year where, man, we're going to see Devin, we're going to see Miles Jack, and that's what it's going to be. And it turned out to be what? Robert Spillane still very much having this crazy role, and not just having a role, but being a super productive player for us. We talk about what he does in the run game, and it's to the point now that I don't even feel like we got to talk about it because of how good he's become, or how, defined that has been a part of his game in terms of him just getting tackles for loss or him just being stout against the run. But then it evolved. It was like, man, now you're seeing this dude out here as our main cover linebacker. When it's third downs, they taking everybody else off the field but Spillane. And it showed in his consistency in that vein, man. And I thought that he was another one of those guys that really just stepped up and was kind of like an unsung hero. I look at him and Edmonds in the same vein in terms of like them doing a lot of stuff that doesn't always get recognized. The Levi Wallace interception in this last game. I got a film session about to drop on that. Got actually a ton of film sessions to be coming soon. But on that Levi Wallace pick, it's a great pick by Levi, but the person who makes the play, Spillane. He's in the window sinking super far back, a place where he probably wasn't even supposed to be, which is like, I'm thinking to myself, like, why Watson even threw it?
He's got those Troy elements.
Yeah, it was like, I'm looking at Watson like, why would you throw this? And I'm like, because he knows this is cover 3, and Spillane, technically his drop supposed to be 10 to 12, but because Spillane doesn't have any work, he understands that I'm not chasing the cheese that's in front of me. Let me sink and get depth. And that's what ultimately makes that throw be stupid high and sail. And then from there, Levi just follows his guy in and makes the play. But it's plays like that don't get talked about, that don't get spotlight, that don't get a highlight or a replay. We just focus on Levi, the interceptor. And it's like, dude, this the guy right here that's making plays for you, even when you don't realize he's making plays. So that's why for me, man, I had to go with young Robert Spillane as my most improved cat on defense.
Yeah, the two I was thinking about was Devin Bush and Spillane. The case for Bush is it was rock bottom last year, so
yeah,
the margin between him going from last year to now, even though I feel like Spillane played better than Bush, might be a bigger jump than what Spillane did last year to what Spillane did this year. Although what I will say, like, it goes back to everything you're saying. Spillane, at the end of each season, has been an afterthought. After the season where he broke out in 2020, because he got banged up, that was the unfortunate thing. And then he came back in the Browns game, looked terrible. And you're right, Devin Bush is coming back. And then last year,
your boy Cassius.
Yeah,
that was that game.
It was a disaster.
That was the Cassius game.
It was a disaster of a game. We couldn't stop the run.
Yep.
And then last year, I can't even remember. Well, just the defense was terrible as a whole. We were playing Devin Bush a lot.
It was Bush and Schobert.
Bush and Schobert. No matter who was in at linebacker, we didn't feel good about anyone in the room because we gave up literally the highest amount of rush yards for a defense in the league.
Run.
We were 32nd in the league. And then, we pick up Miles Jack. Okay, we give Devin Bush another chance here. Yeah. Spillane, he's just that third guy. And Stan Clair brings up a good point because he says, not this year's preseason, but last year's preseason, everyone was kicking Spillane to the curb, including
Always.
Deke Moats, because he was struggling in some of those preseason games.
But what was the context? And we said this.
But even last year, like, were we talking about Spillane like that?
But we also said this prior to each of those games, and I want y'all to remember this. We said, man, preseason is not a good situation for Robert Spillane, and the reason the context was in the preseason, Spillane's best asset is not his athletic ability, it's his preparation. It's him knowing who he's matched up against. So he can study film on them, know their strengths and weaknesses, know what routes they want to do. Preseason, you don't get any of that. It's essentially like playing pickup basketball, except we all are elite athletes. And it's like, hey, good luck. You might get a guy that runs 4.7 and is a big thumper. Great night for you. You might get a guy that runs 4.2 and is elusive as heck. Good luck. That's the preseason. So that was a big reason why when we would talk about Spillane and we would say, hey, man, it's a possibility that he might not look good. This was why. But at the same time, we also understood that the context being that. So even though we criticized him, it still wasn't to that extent. I get what you're saying, though, but it wasn't to that extent.
Maybe in 2020, though.
Yeah, 2020, yes.
Not this last season. Mm-hmm. I just feel like in terms of the linebacker room, we thought he was just going to be the steady third guy for us. Yeah. We didn't have any high expectations. Because even though I was talking about Devin Bush and being rock bottom last year and just not being good, again, I don't think we were feeling that great about Spillane either. Yeah. And now, after the end of this season, last 4 games, he played 100% of the snaps. And going back to what you said, he was very productive. Averaged 9 tackles a game. And he was a big part of the Ravens and Cleveland game, stopping the run, because that's what he's big in. The only bad play that really sticks out to me with Spillane this year, I don't know if there was maybe one earlier, but just the Panthers one. Yeah. But it depends on your expectations.
That's how I look at it as well, man.
The Chuba Hubbard play where he goes out and, Sam Darnold has some extra time. He's able to dump it off, and Hubbard gets, 30, 40 yards on a pass play. That was it. No, but I think Spillane now has us thinking, wait, could he be our starter going forward between him or Mark Robinson?
Pairing with something, yeah.
I got him on most improved, too.